Absolute Batman issue 19. Scott Snyder writing with Nick Dragota on the art. So, we kind of teased the image of the cover with the Absolute Robins was kind of doing the rounds, so you might have seen that anyway. What's funny is this issue doesn't actually reveal what they're going to look like. It reveals who they are. It reveals that they're going to have suits of some kind. Because of a future cover, I already know what the suits look like, but you don't actually see them in this issue. Yeah. So, just worth mentioning that. It also brings in Absolute Deathstroke into the mix, because he's the one running the team of Robins. As you do.
Which, in the scheme of things, Slade being allied with Dick Grayson is hilarious.
Oh yes.
Show how different this universe is.
Yep, and this idea that they've all pledged loyalty and all that, and it's all been funded by Jack Grimm, so it's all feeding into that. But that's not even the biggest revelation of the issue, because that's obviously exciting, and it's like, okay, because I think in your head you're like, all right, the Robins are going to be this peacekeeping force, and eventually though maybe Batman will turn them, maybe they'll become allies down the line, and that's the exciting thing. But this issue has a couple other big things to talk about. One, the introduction of Absolute Scarecrow is up there, right? He's a creepy bastard.
Yep.
Number two, Jim Gordon's dead, so we'll get to that. And
Batman pushed him, is what they would want you to believe.
Well, that's what he stepped off a roof. Batman tried to grab him, and he fell and splatted to his death. But then perhaps the biggest thing that snuck in here that might be really a big deal going forward is the idea that Jack Grimm, or someone, but I'm assuming Jack Grimm, intentionally tried to create Batman. Do you know what's so interesting about this? It's a big leap. Not as much as the one that Gordon took, but it's a leap. I think what was getting to me is I was getting to that part of the issue where it was like, oh, Gordon's got these secret files and it says Project Batman on it, and it's like, oh, go to the zoo, do this, and then that's all we get to see, and he's burning them. He's like, oh, I can't reveal them to you, Bruce, blah, blah. When it was getting to that point and then Gordon died, it sort of dawned on me that up until this point, I was like, Absolute Batman, obviously everyone talks about how bulky he is, and he's got the big axe, and he's got all this stuff, and he's not got money. But in a lot of ways, he's maybe, like, the least changed from his regular version in a lot of ways.
He's still Batman, right? He's got the gadgets. He has the sense of justice and wanting to defend Gotham.
Yeah.
All that stuff is still, true to the character.
There's differences, sure, but like it still broadly still feels very Batman-y, right? And we've pointed out the differences, but yeah, the mom's still alive, and that's a big deal. I felt like this one, though, this was the one where it was like, oh no, this is how this is different. We're going to kill Gordon like early on. We're going to suggest that Batman was not an accidental creation, that it was actually the powers that be trying to turn them into something. Now, I'm assuming Jack Grimm wants Batman to become something of his, and ultimately Batman's going to rebel against him and probably beat him, and that'll be the heroic, good part of the story and all that. But this is the sort of thing where if they tried to pull this shit in the regular universe, I'd be like, no, this is, why are you retconning all this? Is terrible. But in the Absolute universe, I'm like, yeah, you can do this. You can say Batman was an intentional attempt to try to create a vigilante. Go for it.
Because in the main universe, trying to make Bruce Wayne this subject of fate when it's a random act of violence, right? That's always what rings out. And that's why he becomes Batman, so it doesn't happen to him. That's different than in Absolute Batman, right? He's pushing up against the system here. He's a lot more with that punk ethos of, this is the system, it's inherently corrupt, I don't want to be a part of it. But what if that system is what created him? What does that make Batman? And I do like that it's playing with that.
Yeah, it's interesting that the idea that Jack Grimm has all these different experiments and ideas, things that he tries to create, and Scarecrow's almost certainly one of his creations. In fact, we might have even seen his name in one of the cells back when we were going through Arkham. I can't remember. It's been a while.
Real quick, someone asked Scott Snyder on social media that, are these crows at the zoo in the flashback? Right? The crows that we see associated with Scarecrow. And Snyder only responded, that's a pretty good eye you have. Keep reading. So someone went back after reading this issue, went back, saw this, went back to those issues, and there's some little subtle hints of what might be going on. So I think that's super cool.
Okay, but just to jump in from one point there, what do you mean crows that we associate with Scarecrow? Because I wouldn't say that in the regular universe we have ever associated crows with Scarecrow.
No. The crows that we get here from the beginning, when he, attacks those farm guys.
Yeah, but I'm saying, so this revelation came after this issue. This was not something people noticed beforehand.
No.
Right.
Yes, it says no. This was the person read this issue, went back to read the stuff at the zoo, right? Saw crows in those panels, and it was like, oh my god, it's almost like they're harbingers, right? And then when you see the crows here with Gordon, right before he jumps, takes that short walk off a long building. Yeah. Long walk off a short building.
Yeah, so I mean, just to get into this intro then. So we're basically, there's a couple of farmers and they're working out there, and the straw man, we're calling him, as the title of the issue, shows up. And Scarecrow here has like a hat, and he has like kind of a Scarecrow-esque face, but he's wearing like a suit. So he's kind of like a kind of Scarecrow meets like 30s gangster almost. Like he's got that kind of look going for him.
But he's got those button eyes on the mask.
Yes.
Right? I'm assuming it's a mask and not his actual face, because he says maybe this isn't a mask. Right? And you're just like, oh, again, Snyder's outdone himself in creepiness. Just every time I think that he's done the worst he can in Absolute Batman, he drops a new figure on us.
Yeah. Well, I actually think it was clear that it wasn't a mask. Like, I think these two guys say, oh, that's some mask you've got there. As soon as they said that, I'm like, oh, it's not a mask. Like, they're saying that because it's the only way they can, like, process what they're looking at. And and the Scarecrow just kind of goes along with it until afterwards, where he's like, oh, maybe it's not a mask. So basically what he does here is he sprays something in one of the guy's faces after he's claimed that the other guy was cheating on him, like, having sex with his wife. And after he sprays something in his face, the guy gets, like, blindingly angry, right? Where he goes to murder the friend and does so by beating him and then running over him with the harvester, whatever it is.
Combine.
Yeah. And then afterwards he kind of sobers up and sort of realizes what he's done, and he's like, wait, no, I didn't want to do that. And he starts freaking out. And then he's like, I'm going to go... And he actually says a line here that made me laugh, where he's like, oh, we can still save him. I'll scoop up... It's like, if you're saying scoop, if you're saying the word scoop to describe picking a person up, it's over.
No. If you need a ladle to help your friend, he's not your friend anymore.
Yeah.
Your friend is gone.
And then this little biplane comes in and crashes into him, and like Scarecrow walks off.
Yeah, because after he blows that smoke in the guy's face, and we think that's where he dosed him with the toxin, all these crows are starting to fly around, and like they're manifesting, and they manifest around this crop dusting plane, and they end up bringing it down, and it crashes into the combine.
Yeah. It's interesting because it felt more like anger, and he even says, I got so angry, and then Scarecrow says, no, not anger, that was fear. And to be fair, like, obviously later on, it's implied that Scarecrow has dosed Gordon, and that's why Gordon's so scared to show these files, and that's why he goes off. So Scarecrow effectively killed Jim Gordon in the Absolute Universe, and that's kind of a big deal, right? That kind of elevates him quite a bit beyond normal. But yeah, super creepy, super, very different take on Scarecrow.
The way he comes walking out of the cornfield, right? That's nightmares.
He's a lot more, I guess, suave than typically you think of as Scarecrow, but still creepy.
Yeah, because his name is Jonathan Crane, they always try to hit the Ichabod Crane iconography from Legend of Sleepy Hollow, where he's this really lanky guy, and that's where a lot of the creepiness comes from. But here, there's just more of an unsettlingness, with his face. There's like an uncanny valley ness to him, right? Where he's like, yeah, he said he looks like a 30s gangster, but it's just off. He's not wearing shoes.
That's right. He's not wearing shoes.
Barefoot man in a suit and a hat comes walking out of a cornfield out of nowhere. And yeah, it's just, again, it's nightmare stuff.
Very, very creepy. So then we also see some action where Batman's like speeding through the streets from the cops, and he's basically got like a four-wheeled version of the Bat Pod from the Dark Knight movies, where it can like turn around on the wheels and do like sort of moves where it's flipping over itself, kind of like I don't know, like a big go-kart effectively, where it's sort of shifting around and stuff. So we get
the bat gyroscope.
You got Harley, who's with Alfred, and she's like trying to name. In fact, they're both trying to name what this vehicle is, and they're like, "Oh, it's the bat this, the bat that," and Batman's like, "No, hardest no ever." And then she ends up saying the bat nasty, which he hates, but then all of her Harley like hoodie folk who show up to help him hide it all start calling it the bat nasty and just pisses him off. So, despite all the creepiness of this issue, there was some humor kind of thrown in here in the middle, which was kind of fun.
I like the Red Hood gang coming in and disassembling this like a NASCAR team.
Like a pit crew. A pit crew, that's what I was thinking.
Yeah. And then they're just gone, and then he does that thing you see in movies where they just throw on a coat and he comes down and he's pushing the shopping cart, and yeah. Everything was very well paced throughout the scene. Yeah,
he just sneaks into an alleyway, and then like the cops just never are able to find him because they hide everything. So and then Wayland kind of comes out of the shadows, and we get another flashback, kind of continuing those flashbacks from before when he was in the fight and Wayne took Falcone's money. Wayne's now in prison, getting beat up, although he's beating up a lot of Falcone's men as well. And this is all kind of stuff where, and it's this idea that they were a team and that he was like, "Hey, Wayland, don't sell your gym to get bail money for me. Like, we're in this together." And it contrasts with the present day stuff because Wayland's like saying, "Okay, what's our plan?" But the whole thing with Batman right now here is that he is like giving up his personal life. That was the whole story of last issue, is that he is throwing in the towel of trying to be Bruce Wayne, and he's not even like pretending to keep any of those connections anymore. He's like, "Hey, I'm happy you're okay, but you shouldn't be involved in this. This is just a me thing," and he just walks away.
Yeah, and there's a tragedy there that like he's having to choose this loneliness, right? Because he's had this group of people. They were his friends, forever. And in that flashback, they talk about how every time they raise enough money, so you're thinking it's got to be Nigma and Dent and Ozzy and them, and every time they get money together, they just raise the bell because Falcone has the judges, right? And it's like this thing, but they're trying, they're a family. And so to juxtapose that with Bruce, like seeing him in this new form, right? Like he drops it. He's not the big gator man. He's kind of what we see him in the normal universe as, like this guy.
He's more of a human shape, right? He's got he's green, he's got scales, but he's more humanoid.
Mm-hmm. And he just looks at him and is like, "No, I gotta go." Like they hug, but then Bruce has to turn and walk away. And there's this panel of the hand reaching out of the darkness from Croc. He's like, "Don't do this," and it's just it's heartbreaking.
Yeah, he's just asking for help. Because for a while it was like he was refusing help, and now he's asking for it, and Bruce is walking away. So there's a whole sadness to it. But then like they get a call. Harley set up like a sort of like app or something for people to like contact Batman. So Gordon calls him, and they actually, this is the thing about them killing off Gordon in this issue, is they actually tease that, oh, this might become a thing where Batman comes to see Gordon. They're on a rooftop. It's like a classic Gordon Batman scene.
And the thing that Harley set up, she is like, it's like the bat signal, right? They can put in where they need help, and Batman can go and.
Oh, it's not like the bat signal. She just calls it the bat signal.
She does it. Okay.
Yeah.
So yeah, and they're like, "Oh, this is traditional. This is what we expect with the Gordon," and then he knows that it's Bruce, right?
Yep.
Because of the revelation last time. So we're like, okay, so this is how it's changing. And then Snyder goes, "Oh, you think you know what's up? Watch this."
Yeah, I mean, they tease it because Batman says you sounded scared on the phone, and then he's like, "Yeah, I've got these files, and but maybe I shouldn't give them to you." And he sort of, double backs on it, and we see it says Project Batman, and then we hear the cawing. We start getting the little panels and the red backgrounds of the crows, and you realize, oh, something's up here. So the files are on fire, but it also sets fire to Gordon's arm, and he puts it out. But Batman picks up one page, and we get just like the little zoomed in bit where it says the word zoo, as if like, oh no, they planned that at the zoo where his dad died. That's all it's teasing. And then he's distracted because Gordon goes off the edge, and we get this great full page of the hook at the end of the cape catching on to Gordon's coat, but then next page you look down and he's just fallen out of his coat. And he's dead in the ground. And just to confirm it, they actually do like a news report like a page or two later where it's like, hey, Jim Gordon has died, so on and so on. And it's like, oh shit, we're really shaking things up now. Because I thought, because this is the thing, when Gordon called him and he was like, oh, I'm scared to show you this, before they actually teased the Project Batman thing, I was like, oh, he's been looking into Martha because he's been wondering where she is, and he's found out something about the Court of Owls. No. Mm-hmm. It went a completely different direction from that.
Swerved us. Also, you said they confirmed with the news stuff later, but on the panel where we see he's out of the code, there are splat lines.
There is, yes,
underneath them. You know what I mean? So, but yeah, that was a shock. I actually gasped.
Yeah,
I was like, oh my god, we just killed Gordon.
For a minute though, I was, because when it first did that, I was like, oh, maybe. Is this like the debut of Clayface or something? Like, is this not really Gordon? Or I was trying to like think about how they get out of it.
They have teased Clayface. He was an Arkham. You know, that big mound of stuff. So yeah. But yeah, so after that, so Bruce is like on the rooftop. He's taken aback. He looks across and sees in the window everybody's staring, like in the building across. And he sees just like a small, like a light from a lighter. And he looks into it and it's Scarecrow. And again, the creeps. That entire scene, and it's all done without dialogue. There's no narrative. It is just like the pencils, the art doing the story.
Yeah, but my favorite,
top notch.
Favorite part of this though, Matt, is that when he sees Scarecrow, he's able to spot him. Mm-hmm. The last panel of that page is Scarecrow looking scared. His mouth opens and he looks kind of terrified. This idea that he wasn't supposed to be seen. And he's kind of shocked that Batman like caught on to him. Yeah. So I really like that moment of this idea of like, oh, Batman might be able to fight fear with fear kind of thing. So yeah. And we get another flashback where Gordon tries to stop Bruce from like talking to Falcone and try to help him with his life. But Bruce goes with Falcone because Falcone's saying, hey, half that money was yours to pay back. The other half is your girlfriend, Selena Kyle. And he's basically like suggesting that she's going to have to go and like work it off as a hooker to like pay him back. Mm-hmm. So he gets Bruce in the car to go and do stuff for him, and it's left ambiguous as to what exactly that's going to be. But again, it's this idea of him like, falling into this bad group of people and so on. So it's setting up more stuff, but we get the news reports of everything, and the fact that it looks like Batman did this. Like, people are, we looked up, Batman was there, he pushed him off the roof. And this kind of motivates the fact that they introduce Slade Wilson, who has only one arm and no legs, because he's got like metal legs that he puts on, and he also puts on like a fake like beard. He's got like a little cover for his face. So
he's missing any identifiable features, right? So the nose, the ears, he's missing an eye already in the classic Slade eye patch. He's like a husk. Like, if this is supposed to be a super soldier, what has he gone through?
Well, it did make me wonder though, like, technically, is this really even Slade Wilson, or is this just someone who's putting on all the parts to look like Slade Wilson?
Right. It's well, maybe. I'm gonna choose right now to believe this version of Deathstroke, because when we got introduced to him, he was in that big thing of armor, right? So maybe that's what's keeping it together, and this is how he makes his civilian appearances, right? You can't be scaring the people with no nose, and all that type of stuff.
Is all of this just new because of what happened when he was in the armor, or was he already like this in the armor? I don't know.
I think he was already like this in the armor. Okay. That's what I'm choosing to go with. But yeah, and that's maybe the armor is him, right? So how he's putting on the prosthetics here, that's how he gets into the armor. So it's like one of the mechs, right? And that's what gives him the super soldierness. I don't know, but it was creepy. Him assembling his face too, kind of matching the Scarecrow a little bit.
He's putting it all on like it's all like makeup and prosthetics. It's like none of the features are actually his anymore, but he's choosing to look like Slade Wilson. But I mean, maybe there'll be a twist there later on about because if this isn't really him and it's just someone else who's looking like him, then that's another kettle of fish. But he is announcing the Robins, this initiative to fight crime in Gotham, and we get kind of like a montage page basically saying, oh, we had this academy, we've got all these people, and it describes all the characters that you might, I mean, well, most of them are expected, one or two might be fun additions you didn't see coming. So we have Tim Drake signing his name, we got Stephanie Brown, that's a fun pool. We have Jason Todd, we got Duke Thomas, and then they leave the leader to last, who is Dick Grayson, who have been teasing Dick for a little bit as the ambulance paramedic. But so it's like, hey, this is the team, and they almost look like a team of astronauts getting ready to go to their ship, as they're all in the red and green jumpsuits, they're all in the Robin colors, and then it's like, no, here's your suits, and then we don't get to see them here. It just ends with Slade saying, you know, this is the future, they're going to protect us, blah blah blah. So maybe a little bit weak as a cliffhanger. Maybe a splash page of those suits might have done you the world of good. To be honest, though, see if they hadn't done this Robin stuff this issue and just ended on the bombshell of Gordon dying, that would have also worked well as an ending. So, yeah, I don't know. But
I do like the restraint here of not showing the suits because we see their reaction to them.
Yes.
Right? Because he goes, those jumpsuits aren't, those aren't your suits, Captain Grayson. These are. And you just have
let me ask you then.
I say Tim, it's not Tim.
Would it be better if just take out that bottom panel of Slade making more of a speech and just have a big panel of their reactions instead, and have that be the cliffhanger?
Like have that take up, have that be the bottom half, right?
Yeah.
Just their reaction. Yeah. Because then you have Jason going, whoa, right? And also has a slight Power Rangers feel to it as well.
Sure, yeah, I can see that.
Or Voltron, or whatever. So
this is me pulling my knowledge of seeing the cover for later, but they all have their own color, right? So Dick's going to have a blue color scheme, Jason's going to have a red, Steph's got a purple, Tim's
Duke's is yellow.
Duke's is yellow, Tim's is green, I think. So they all have, it's like, oh yeah, it's very Power Rangers-esque. And to be fair though, they're all associated with those colors in some form, right? They all have it. I mean, I guess like Tim being green almost feels like the only one that's like, well, green's part of the Robin color set and he doesn't have his own color. I mean, you could say red because of Red Robin, but red too, like Jason's got red. Like he's definitely the red one.
Makes more sense.
Yeah.
And we also find out that most of them are wards of the state, right? So it's like Jack Grimm picking up these kids.
He's the one who's been adopting children and enlisted them in a war and crime for his own nefarious purposes.
And then when that gets into the thing that I noticed that Snyder likes to tell with Joker and Batman is how they both need each other, right? And even in the Absolute Universe, their version of Joker has done all of this stuff. And if he is responsible for creating Batman and stuff, it's that constant push and pull of Batman and Joker, like this thing that's just meant to go on forever. And now in this case, he's subsumed the Batman stuff, and now Batman's on that kind of Joker side, where he's kind of the lone wolf that's operating in this type of stuff with Harley Quinn.
Right? That's a good point there.
So I love that. And do I hope that the Robins do see the light and rebel against Grimm? I mean, yeah, because that's what I would want. Do I think it's going to happen? Probably not, because it's the Absolute Universe. And they need to be different.
I could see it still going that way though, where they do eventually. I mean, I could see them all dying as they give their life to like stop him or something. Because again, it's dark. It's the Absolute Universe. We can do whatever we want. But part of me, like, you know, every so often we talk about, oh, I look forward to this character meeting this absolute version of the character and so on. I do kind of like the idea of seeing all these Robins like see the regular versions of these characters and see that, oh wait, no, we're all like a family. We're all tied to Batman. He's the one that trained us all and took us in and so on. Like, you do start to wonder about their reactions to such a thing as soon as you start. That's how I know this is a good idea, because I immediately started thinking about that.
Yep. But yeah, a lot of fun stuff. And then just, they also, I feel like, have the same kind of vibe as the Crime Alley kids from the Absolute, right? Like, this version of Tim was giving me like Riddler kind of vibes because of the glasses and the computers, you know, and just it feels like there's parallels here, and we just can't escape them.
I get what you say. So Brucey's little group of like Friends. Okay, I can see the parallels. You said that weird, like the absolute. What do you mean the absolute? I was like, we're already talking about the absolute Batman.
Yeah. So like Ozzy and them, like one of them might have a connection because we know that Grayson was working at the hospital, right? Because he was like an ambulance guy helping people out. So you got to figure they all come from different aspects and whatnot. So, but no, very exciting. And again, that last panel of them going, whoa, and it showed some great restraint, but them working the Robin costume into those jumpsuits, I thought was a nice touch as well.
Yeah, this is a very packed issue. Like, you know, like when we were starting it off and I was just kind of listing the big bullet points of like what we want to talk about, it was like, oh, like the absolute Scarecrow being a creepy bastard was almost like an afterthought by the time we said, oh, the Robins are introduced, Gordon's dead, and also Batman might be intentionally created by the Joker. Like, like those all end up being more important than Absolute Scarecrow, but Absolute Scarecrow was no slouch. So it's kind of like, shit, this issue had like tons of stuff in it. So, yeah, hard to complain, especially when the IDs are kind of fun and good, and you're kind of, it makes you wonder about where it's going with some of this stuff, and this idea that, okay, Batman has to reckon with the fact that someone wanted him to go down this path, and therefore, how does he take ownership of it? So it's not just what Jack Grimm or whoever wanted at the time.
And I do feel like Snyder, reading enough of his Batman, I feel like it's gonna come down to choices, right? Because Grimm can do all this stuff, but he couldn't make Bruce make the choices that he made, right? Because I feel that ties back to the Bane story arc, where Bruce kept fighting through all of the stuff that would have turned him into the next Bane, right? Those are his choices. So I'm wondering if that's where this is going to go. And it ends up being about choices. And Grimm can do all of these things, but he can't make the person make that choice.
Well, I mean, we're already at a point here where the Robins are kind of... obviously they'd been in the work for a long time, but like it's almost like the Robins were like the plan B. Like, okay, Batman's not worked out, so the Robins are now going to try and clean him out of the picture, maybe. So... I don't know, we'll see. But the concepts are really cool. This felt like it introduced a ton of stuff, and all of it was interesting. So hard to fault, really. And nice to have Dragota back on the art as well.
Yep.
You know, after those 2 issues away from him. So, all right, what are you giving Absolute Batman issue 19?
I'm giving this one an 8.5.
Yeah, I think I'm just going with a 9. Like, honestly, it's hard to fault for me. Every idea introduced I was kind of digging in one way or another, so
nice.
Good stuff.